finding you're not coping in life as well as you used to, but you're not understanding why. Because right now in your life at this moment, everything seems to be okay. But what might have happened is that you've experienced trauma in the past that you haven't resolved yet, or perhaps not resolved enough, and things are coming up, or you might have been triggered again. This video is about the emotional symptoms of trauma that you might still be having. And also too, this is not for self-diagnosis, but it's perhaps to understand that perhaps what you are experiencing emotionally can be trauma related. I'm Chantal, psychotherapist and Reiki master. Now, trauma is something that really can send us into a spin. We go into shock and denial. We don't know what's happened to us. We don't know how to put the words to it. And often what we do is we don't know how to reach out for help. Because it wasn't that bad, I'm strong, I'm independent, what will people think? All these things put us off. And also we often don't have the words to do that. We don't know how to share that. Not only is the person who's experienced the trauma, but the other person. That could be family, friends. We don't know how to talk, how to hold space, how to just be there for someone, allow them to be where they are. It feels too hard, too difficult. And often we want to fix it, we want to make it better. We want to nurture them. But unfortunately, it's your own experience you need to go through. And it's actually up to you, up to me, up to us, how we do that. It's up to us to make the choice to actually get help and get better. Because why would you want to stay in this space? Why wouldn't you want to have a good life again, fulfilled? And in fact, this has been my experience. I found my life now is better than ever. Because I really have dealt with so many different things that have happened to me during my life that I didn't want to, I thought I had, they kept coming up again. Now I'm leading a life of my own design, a life in my own way with so much freedom, joy, excitement. Now also what I found was trauma related, they can also be part of menopause, because part of my trauma was when I was going through menopause, and they can be other conditions as well, ADHD. So just be discerning. Remember, this is not for diagnosis. If something resonates, you're thinking, oh, this feels familiar, do go and seek help. Number one, shock, denial, disbelief. What I found is that is a protective mechanism. Your body goes into overdrive. You go numb. You actually have no idea what's happened to you because it was so sudden. Now, even if things have been built up there, this can still happen when something gets triggered again, all it comes up. And I know when I first had my car accident, for 4 days, I had no idea what had hit me. It was like I was living in this other world. I didn't know how to become present again. I didn't even understand what had actually happened to me. So that is what can happen. You go into a state of shock. And that sometimes you can stay in that. That's when we can freeze in that space. And then we don't think we need to go and seek help. Just know this is normal. It's a way of protecting you. Because whatever you knew has suddenly gone upside down, turned you inside out. Who am I? Where do I go from here? Number two, what happens is you have this feeling of feeling unsafe, insecure. You don't want to go out in the world. Now, again, this can be gradual over the years. It can be sudden. You experience a sense of sadness, distress that you don't understand. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it's in your body. It is residing here. Because the body, remember, it keeps score. It's there. And that in turn creates this whole sense of helplessness and hopelessness, that you didn't support yourself, that you didn't know how. So it creates this whole sense of negativity. It affects how you see yourself. So again, sometimes it's just easier to withdraw because it brings up intense feelings of shame. The third one I want to talk about is that you start withdrawing from life. You start withdrawing from loved ones, from society, from things you love to do. It's just so much easier to stay home. It's so much easier to stay within yourself. But in fact, all you're doing is living with yourself too. It's just enhancing what you're feeling. It's enhancing all that negativity that's going on in your mind. Yet it can be so hard to step out. You feel raw, you feel vulnerable. And you just don't want to expose yourself. You don't want to hear what people have to say. I know that happened for me for a long time. And I was the extroverted one. I was the one that could get out there, socialize. I had such fun and joy. And there suddenly, literally I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to do anything. And that frightened me. And that perpetuated this whole sense of anxiety and hopelessness and helplessness. I needed to really work through that so I could come back out again. Now I can discern. Sometimes I love going out, sometimes I don't. And that's a beautiful place to come to because that means you're coming back into yourself and into your own inner strength. The fourth one, and I found that came with this too, you lose an interest in things that you loved doing. You no longer want to create, go out there, go for walks. There's so many things. You might not want to cook anymore. You just simply have lost interest in things you love, people you love, and a loss of interest in life. So that brings us to the fifth one, because when that happens, what you're doing is that you are micromanaging everything. You have to control everything right down to every single little detail. You need to keep yourself safe like this, because if you don't, what could happen? There's that fear. Again, hypervigilant, watching. So it takes a long time to be able to expand out again, to feel safe again, to not micromanage, to allow things to happen spontaneously, to have fun again, to play. And that if something does happen, and you do trigger back into that space, you know you now got the tools, you know where you can go and get support and help. So that's why I have what I call my sacred toolbox, because then I know I can do that. Or I go back and see my psychologist just to bring me back. There's no shame around that. It is supporting yourself. The sixth one is self-worth. You lose your sense of self, your self-worth, your confidence. You have no longer self-esteem. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know how to draw on that depth. You no longer feel confident to go out, and that can be affecting your life, your career, your business, how you are with your family, your children, your friends, and you're forever doubting yourself. You're forever second guessing yourself, and you're forever pleasing. You're needing others to do it for you. You no longer know how to take responsibility. So what you do is you delegate to others. You abdicate rather than delegate. You don't know how to do that. You no longer how to self-determine, because you simply don't trust yourself, the body, and your world. So number 7 is, it's augmented by the fact that because your mind is so scrambled, that's how I see it's like spaghetti. It was all scrambled, nothing was coming together. It creates forgetfulness, it creates memory loss, disorganization. I couldn't bring anything together. Not only that, I couldn't piece things. I couldn't make sense of anything. And I was running a business, I am running a business, but I was starting up another business here, and I was learning how to do technology and social media and all that, but I couldn't piece it together, and that created such a sense of stress. And because I had no memory and I was forgetting things, it actually heightened my fears, my anxieties, my nightmares, because I never felt safe, I never felt grounded. And it concerned me that I didn't have my memory anymore. So I tried to put things into place, just saying to people, in fact, even to clients, please remind me what I have said or I do. Email me. So I put some things into place to support myself. So it's really important you find things to support yourself, how to self-soothe, how to regulate. But it needs to be things that you can do, and it's your way. And the last one is anger, irritability, emotional outbursts. You don't understand what's happening. You feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, yet all this emotion just comes out. It triggers, and it can happen at the most inopportune times. Where did that come from? It doesn't make sense. So just know if this is it. What you're doing is, again, from my experience, is you're protecting yourself, you're protecting that vulnerability. You're putting on a brave face and a facade because you don't want people to know, but it will come out somehow. And this is one of the ways that it does. Let me know if anything resonates. Please remember, this is not for self-diagnosis. Do go and seek help. Share this with anyone you feel might benefit from this as well. Subscribe and click on the notifications, as the next one will be all about the physical symptoms of trauma.